Hello, it is your Astro Coach Sarah here for Wellness Astrology, this time for the new moon solar eclipse in Aries. This is March 28th through maybe it's 29th, 28th through the 30th. The eclipse peaks on Saturday morning, and then Neptune and Mercury will swap places. Okay, I did your sun and rising signs, should be posted by the time this video airs, so go check them out but also keep in mind that those sun and rising signs are based on whole sign houses. So if you want a more detailed chart look at where these things will hit in your personal chart, because like I said in the video, and I'm going to say it again here, I'm a Scorpio rising, so Aries is in whole sign. That would be my sixth house. But all of the current Aries activity is happening in my fifth house in Placidus. So it does make a difference. It does make a difference in how these transits show up for each individual chart. Unfortunately, with sun and rising sign forecast, you must use whole sign houses. So there's that. So definitely I will try to remember to put the link to the sun and rising sign video in the description box so you can go down there and find it and look at your sun and rising sign for this Aries new moon solar eclipse. This is an out of sign solar eclipse because the nodes, as you know, are in Pisces, Virgo, North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. So this is actually a closing eclipse for the nodes, the North Node Aries, which we had from July 20th, the 23 till January of 2025. Um, and so, but the thing about this eclipse is that this eclipse is happening at 9 degrees of Aries. Venus and Mercury both stationed retrograde at 9 and 10 degrees of Aries. And so they're currently moving backwards, so to speak, into Pisces and won't station direct and pass this degree point until into April and into May. And so there may be stuff happening. There may be some mind fuckery with this solar eclipse that may not resolve for a hot minute. Okay. So again, I think I talked about it in the Aries sun and rising, the Aries season sun and rising signs. It's like you may be still being prepared for something. Okay. Um, you may still be, getting your environment together, your mental state together, your emotional state together. There also could be some things around victimhood and things like that. I feel like the victimhood thing is going to be a big deal in the next couple of months with Neptune moving into Aries, but certainly once Saturn moves into Aries, is going to be some pretty hard reality checks for a lot of people. Um, but okay, so Neptune and Aries is kind of going to be this new energy. So by Saturday, things are going to feel very different. If they don't already, I can tell you, okay, this video is coming up probably on the 29th. So what would that be? Saturday, when this video airs, or Friday. I can't remember. I have to look at the dates and the times when this video will pop up. But I'm going to go with the fact that this video is posting on Saturday morning for you. I'm filming it on the 23rd. Um, I have been feeling a difference in my own energy for over a week, like a week and a half. So if I'm recording this on the 23rd, it's been like over a week that I have been feeling a very different energy. Okay. Like very different energy. Um, just more laser focused on getting my shit done, more laser focused on the projects that I need to do to prepare for what I want next in life, and whatnot. And so the thing that I really want is to relocate and to relocate. Like I need certain things to happen. So if you're looking to relocate or you're looking for a new job or you're looking, you're a new parent or a parent going into empty nesting, there's certain things that you have to prepare for with those life changes. And so, depending on how this is showing up for you, maybe you're just not ready yet. And so, the eagerness or the urgency of wanting things to change in whatever capacity you're wanting it to change, the things may not happen. Aries is a lot of false starts. And you got to also remember that even with this Neptune moving into Aries, it's not going to be, this isn't the end because Neptune's going to retrograde back into Pisces in November, I want to say. Saturn retrogrades back into Pisces also later this fall. So we get several months of this, of Neptune and Aries, but we're not done with Neptune and Pisces. Okay. So there could be a lot of false starts. There could be like my interpretation of this for myself. I'll just give you my own self story here. Is my interpretation of this for myself is a lot of false starts. So that means if I do relocate this year, because that's my intention, is to relocate so I can, get back into living in a bigger area and whatnot and having more resources and things like that. That may not be my last relocation. Okay. It may not be. I hope it's not. I mean, I like moving. I like being in different places. That's not unusual. My second house is Sagittarius, so I don't like sitting still. I like moving about. But my point in that is that like, okay, you start a new job, but you may have some stuff resurfaced from your previous job, right? Or you're an empty nester, but oh shit, one of your kids like needs to stay with you for a minute to recalibrate their own life. I may relocate this year, but it may not be my last relocation. I may end up relocating again next year. Things like that. And it may not be like very well timed. Like I could relocate this year and end up relocating 2 years from now, right? Because this is Neptune. This is slow energy, right? Same with Pluto and Aquarius. This isn't fast energy like Mercury, where like one day you're brain fogged as hell and the next day you're fine. That's Mercury. This is Neptune, where you may be relocation or new parental role this year, but later on this year, early next year, it's like a different situation. Okay. Neptune will be in Aries once he ingresses next year in 2026. Once he ingresses next year into Aries, he will be there for 15 years. So this isn't a short stretch, right? By 2026, I want to say by April, March, maybe by March next year. I would really have to look at the dates because I can't remember off the top of my head. But I want to say by March or April of 2026, we will have Pluto in Aquarius, Neptune in Aries, Uranus in Gemini, and that'll be the stage for 8 years because Uranus will change signs. I'm not mentioning Saturn there because Saturn has a 3-year time in each sign. So for the next 3 years, starting in 2026, it'll be Pluto in Aquarius, Neptune and Saturn in Aries, and Uranus in Gemini. For the next 8 years, it'll be Neptune in Aries, Uranus in Gemini, Pluto in Aquarius. For the next 15 years, it'll be Neptune in Aries, Pluto in Aquarius. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So my point in saying all of that is things may not happen quickly, but they may happen quickly, but it's like a false start. So you like may get a new job or you may get promoted and then your company downsizes and boom, you're back to the same position you were at, right? Or you get, whatever, you get a false start somehow, right? There's like 1,000 reasons why that could be the case as a false start. Or I could relocate and end up back here because boom, something happens. Who knows? Um, but also there's that whole breaking up with your victimhood bullshit with Neptune coming out of Pisces and into Aries, and choosing to be the warrior of your life and all of that. So think about that. But this solar eclipse weekend, it's going to be a mind fuck. It's going to be, some potential fuckery in the media, like some big explosive story comes out, possibly a false flag type story, and that everybody's going to buy into because, that's what's going to take us to the next war, or that's what's going to take us to the next conflict, or something like that. I really feel like there's going to be something in the news this weekend because Neptune, Mercury, and Aries, Pisces. I don't know. There just feels like there's going to be some sort of story in the media this weekend that's going to make everybody go, "Oh my God." And it's really just a fake story, right? Unfortunately, this is also falling around April Fool's Day. And so maybe we should all be on our guard. with regards to news stories. And Neptune, Mercury, and that 29-degree Pisces is like the ultimate illusion and the ultimate fakery and all of that. The positive of this is you screw the media, forget what the media says, and you step into your own creative space and creating the life that you want and sticking to it. So I went from filming for my other platform and I forgot to get the cards out. So let's get the cards out and see what's going on. But yeah, this is Aries, so this is head, jaw, this is surgery, cutting, this is blood, this is hopefully you're not planning to have surgery, but if you have to have surgery, you have to have surgery. It's a thing. Could be weird transit type things like cars. Um, I know there's been a lot of people setting like electric cars on fire. Um, but also remember with all of this, like fuel could be a thing, like fuel that we use to power said cars, could be a thing. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Wellness wise, I mean, headaches, stay hydrated. I would really avoid alcohol, because like alcohol toxicity with the blood being involved. Um, yeah, and it's an eclipse. That's that could be dangerous. What else? Accidents, like be careful with, a dull knife. Um, because dull knives can cut worse than a sharp knife. You ever cut yourself with a sharp knife? Like I have. I've cut myself with like a chef's knife or whatever. I didn't even feel it. Cut myself with a dull knife and that shit hurts. Um, but yeah, so lots of things to like be attentive to. I would definitely like stay hydrated, be attentive of your your physical body, be attentive of your root chakra and your solar plexus chakras. Those are going to be important for the foreseeable future. So check in with your solar plexus and your root. You can also do like an internet search for Saphazio frequencies to balance your root or to balance your solar plexus. Um, all right, in the tarot, we got the Queen of Starships in reverse. Ooh, goodness. Yeah, I mean, emotional manipulation, um, or triggering emotions, or like, is this one of those weekends where there's one of them telethons for fundraising for something? What's the one that they do in around Easter time? I know we're not quite to Easter yet, but there's one of the telethons that they do that pulls on people's heartstrings and gets them to give them money and da 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 da. Da. I've talked about that before. Um, is it Easter seals or something like that? Or is it the muscular dystrophy or something? I'm not trying to sound uncompassionate when I talk about the nonprofits and donate money to them. I'm telling you, it's not because I'm a bitch, it's because I understand that these organizations do not use that money responsibly. And if there's anything that we can figure out from the last few months of how our government's been, is that we don't actually know what the fuck is going on with our money. So you get emotionally manipulated. My freaking Sarah McLachlan singing you a song while they show you a bunch of abused animals. God, I hate those commercials. It made me actually hate that song, and I actually liked Sarah McLachlan. Um, these organizations do not use their resources the way that we are told that they do. So, all right, we also got the King of Cloaks, the King of Wands, the King of Fire. This is the best of both worlds. Not to be a complete Star Trek Next Gen fan. This is the best of both worlds. You got emotional manipulation, you've got and this is the Queen in reverse, which means that your emotions, your femininity is going to be potentially manipulated. And then you've got the King of Fire, the King of Cloaks upright, meaning that if you take a fucking stand and be the warrior of your life, then chances are, I mean, that's what's going to be this whole Neptune and Pisces is you being the warrior and you taking a stand for yourself in your life and quit being a victim. Otherwise, the constant changes, the constant upheaval is going to constantly piss you off, constantly fuck with you. And you don't want that. Just gonna have to learn to go with the flow. Everything's gonna be okay. You're gonna have to learn new things. We're all gonna have to learn new things. I'm not constantly having to learn new shit. All right. My Zoom has been weird for a year. There's been a change every time I update. I can't do things that I used to be able to do. So, or like I have to learn something new about it, learn a new way of interacting with it or whatever. Let's see what's up with the angels and ancestors. But anyway, so I hope you're willing to stand up for yourself, and, be attentive to things that are emotionally tugging at you because that's manipulation. That's what those nonprofits do is they emotionally manipulate and they tell you all the little warm fuzzy stories that make you all emotional. I'm not gonna lie, when I was a kid, I used to love watching um, the St. Jude thing and hearing about all of the kids, and I thought that was really cool. When I was a kid, I was just fascinated by the stories, but I was more fascinated by like the medical behind it. I could have cared less about the whole, but I was a kid, so there's that. Um, as I got older, I watched like the medical mystery diagnosis type stuff on the Discovery Channel. That was my jam. All right, we got the Knight. Yep, this goes right along with the be brave and be brave and honest. This goes right along with the King of Cloaks upright, is the Knight, and being brave and honest. Like you got to get real with yourself. I think I've said this so many times, but like, do you really want to be the person who is the constant petty tyrant, complaining, whining, bitching about everything? Get honest with yourself. Is that who you really want to be? Because those people are the people that like I was friends with somebody for a really long time. And I finally got to the point where I would ignore their phone calls. And, I was like, oh man, they're such a cool person. Unfortunately, they complain and whine and, you know, everything and they would call me and ask for suggestions of how they could manage some part of their life. And I would give them, oh, I can't do that. Why I can't do that. I'll just rely on this person. I'll just do it this way. Why the fuck did you ask me then? So I got to the point where I finally just said, like, I don't understand your situation. And I'm not interested if you're not interested in helping yourself or, if you're not interested in my suggestions, why do you keep asking me? So it's like the people who constantly are victim or petty tyrant or they don't want to actually help themselves out. Those are the people who don't maintain friendships because they burn people out because they constantly complain. They constantly have a defense for why they cannot do life in a different way that's a little less victimy and complainy than the way that they do life. So stand up, be the knight, your own knight in shining armor, even if things don't work out the way you want them to. There's probably a reason why. You're just not willing to see it in the moment. Or you're being prepared for something else, or you're being redirected. Rejection is redirection. Anyway, so I hope that's helpful and not too snarky, bitchy, all those things. I feel like this Aries energy's got me a little bitchier than normal, which maybe that's not a bad thing. um, But anyway, I hope that's helpful. Do check out the sun and rising signs. And if you would like to book a reading with me, links are below. You can do that, and I can give you a more accurate a perspective on how things are showing up for you on your birth chart. So, anywho, all right, take care and happy new moon solar eclipse in Aries and happy Neptune in Aries. Here we fucking go. Take care.